So, who's heard of this guy, huh? Big hand, big, let me ask you guys, how many people have read this book? It's awesome. I'm telling you guys, there's a lot of really good principles in this book. So let's if we can, Chris, there's people here that haven't studied you, don't know you yet. Let's just talk a little bit about your career. I know it, but I'd love to hear it from you.
All right. What's the short version? I grew up in Iowa, small town, going to law enforcement, cop in Kansas City, Missouri for a few years. Joined the FBI hostage negotiator. Ultimately, I'm in charge of globally international kidnappings. Response to any American gets kidnapped anywhere overseas. My job to figure out a negotiation strategy to get them out. While I was still with the FBI, I started working with Harvard to learn about negotiation because we had a case that went bad. Talk about it in the book. It was an ugly train wreck. People got killed, and decided we had to get better. Started collaborating with the guys at Harvard Law School, Harvard program on negotiation. And while I was there, they said to me, "You're doing the same stuff we're doing. It's just the stakes are different, but all the dynamics are the same." Get out of the FBI. Decide we're going to adapt hostage negotiation to everything. Business, colleagues, family, you name it. It works across, because it's emotional intelligence. It's applied emotional intelligence.
Now, it's interesting because there's a lot of things I want to talk about in this book. I've literally read this at least a half a dozen times, studied it, had study groups around it. One of the most amazing things is that you mentioned is negotiation is not a battle.
No, right, exactly.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times people think it is.
Yeah.
So can you walk through that a little bit?
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody worries about negotiation. The person you think you're going to counter on the other side is you expect to be attacked. And most of the self-proclaimed great negotiators, they like to attack. They see it as combat. They want to do battle. But in point of fact, if you're in a negotiation with somebody, both of you are faced with different sides of the exact same problem. And you need to work together to maximize the outcome. And as soon as you go into collaboration, out of cutthroat, you make more money. One of our top performing coaching clients, and we gathered this group together in Las Vegas just a couple of days ago, because that's where I live. And he said, "When you taught me collaboration, I made more money being collaborative than I ever made being cutthroat." And he was good at being cutthroat and had tasted how good that felt. But what he likes more is all the extra money that's in his bank account.
Yeah.
And so being collaborative is the key to making lots more money and fewer enemies.
What are some of the art of disagreeing without being disagreeable? So that's an art that you maybe have to practice?
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to practice anything. I mean, it's all an art and a science combined, and everybody learns everything. But yeah, like if I disagree with you, especially, my tone of voice could tell you that I don't like you, or that I think you're stupid, or that I'm insulted. So the real beginning is the phrase, "How am I supposed to do that?" which is the opening story in the book. Like a lot of people have turned deals around by just looking at the other side and saying, "How am I supposed to do that?"
It's the best.
And, I could just change it. I go, "How am I supposed to do that?" And my tone of voice insults you. Or if I'd say, how am I supposed to do that? I mean, I'm inviting you to collaborate with me. Let's figure this out together. And let's not be enemies. And that's a way to be disagreeable without, disagree without being disagreeable. Just say it nice.
I know in reading your book, there was all kinds of scenarios. I can think clearly about some of those bank hostage situations you had.
Right.
How do you draw out that information?
It's really easy and really counterintuitive to get somebody talking, which is, first of all, you give them a chance to talk, and then they expect you to disagree or correct them, like real soon. Like most people, if they listen at all, they only listen long enough to disagree. Go, "Aha!" Or "Here's a counterpoint."
Yep.
And so somebody will start talking just to test to see how long it takes you to be disagreeable. And when you're not, then they just start to open up. The phrase in hostage negotiation is, what's it going to take to get the bad guy out? He's going to tell us. If we shut up long enough, and actually listen. And then there's different triggers, the way you can get stuff out of people real quick. Again, and I'll give all you guys one here that we're giving everybody right now. Anybody that you talk to here, as soon as you get the chance, instead of asking them where they live or what they do, ask them what do they love about where they live. Or ask them what do they love about what they do for a living. Now, you're going to find out where they live, or you're going to find out what they do. But if you start there, I mean, that's an emotional state change.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I learned a lot from Tony Robbins. He talks about state changes all the time. If you ask somebody, what do you love about what you do? I asked this of my Lyft driver on the way to the airport the other day. They immediately transform into thinking about that aspect of their life that they love. And you could see them change in the moment, whatever kind of mood they're in. That's the intentional application of emotional intelligence. Ask somebody a what or a how question, which triggers a certain type of thought. Drop in the emotional place you'd like for them to be, and watch them transform in front of your eyes.
Let's, if we could, get into some of the techniques. One of them that I love is mirroring. You know, I've watched your master class. You're all over the internet. Can you talk a little bit about that? Obviously, I've seen you talk about it, but never in person.
Never in person?
Nice. You tried. Did you try to hook me in?
Yeah, mirror is a really cool skill. It's not the body language mirror. It's not the physical thing or tonality thing at all. Like, you know, if a lot of people teach you, if I was going to mirror him, I put my hands up like this, and it's physical alignment. And when people develop rapport, you know, they tend to start to physically align. But then the people that I don't trust start that right off the bat. And I'm always very concerned about somebody who tries to physically mimic me or mimic my tone of voice. And they're going to take me someplace that I may not want to go. I find that's a very highly manipulative technique. But the hostage negotiator's mirror, the black swan mirror, is just repeating the last couple words of what somebody said. It's ridiculously simple. I find people who have simultaneously very high IQ, I am not high IQ, very high IQ, very high EQ, love it because it's so simple. Like, a minimal amount of effort, get the other person talking, keep them going. Then when you go from repeating the last three words of what they said, and you move it around and you pick three words here, anytime anybody says something that you want clarification on, you can say, what do you mean by that? And they probably won't do a great job elaborating. But if you mirror those exact words, the message you said is, I heard what you said, I got the words, it's not quite enough for me. What do you mean by that? Could you please go on? That's all rolled into the mirror. And people respond to it incredibly, and it's a great thing for keeping conversations going.
Let's talk about the three kinds of yes.
Commitment, confirmation, and counterfeit.
Yes. I love this part. Can you explain that a bit?
Yeah, so many people are trapped by yes. You know, yes momentum selling. They call each yes a micro agreement or a tie down. And then theoretically, you get the three tied downs, and you got them tied down, they got to make the deal. Well, everybody's been hustled at some point on that. Everybody's used it. Everybody's been flim-flammed or bamboozled with the yes momentum. So consequently, as soon as somebody tries to get you to start to say yes, you're like, where's this going? How are you tying me down? Where's the trap? Where's the hook that you're trying to set in me? And that's why the counterfeit yes is the vast majority of the yeses. I mean, even if it's not counterfeit, the most a yes ever is aspirational. Even if it's somebody that wants to do it, it's aspirational. Yes is nothing without how, and really yes is nothing and how is everything. So everybody that we coach, we like, get out of the yes business. You just get out of it, because if you're not in the yes business, you're not getting tripped up by counterfeit yes or inadequate yes or they didn't think it through yes. I mean, all this other nonsensical yeses that just lead to train wrecks, broken deals, lack of implementation, broken trust.
What's the best way people can reach you?
Our website is blackswanltd.com, BLACKSWANLTD.com. We got a lot of stuff there that's free. We got a weekly newsletter that's complimentary. It's actionable. There's a lot of stuff It's either free or inexpensive to help people raise the level of their game.
Well, we're all grateful you're here. Chris, thank you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you. Nice job, bud. Thank you. Appreciate it.